Producers are getting robbed every single day in the music business. We don't hear about it because most producers are scared to death to take legal action against the artists and the label entities that rob them, especially when the artists that are robbing them are huge. You know, if you get your beat stolen by a big artist, what do? Do you take legal action? Do you get the song taken down? Do you cause problems and then destroy the relationship with that artist that you've always wanted to work with, and that could help your career in so many ways? Let's be real, a lot of producers are just going to keep their mouths shut in order to protect that relationship that they have with the artist so they can continue working with them, whether or not they're being mistreated and robbed. However, and I'm not saying things are changing, but maybe things are changing, and I've made videos about the last two Vultures albums, but allegedly producers working with Kanye West aren't getting paid. And as a matter of fact, the Donda 2 album that dropped got taken down because producers took legal action, claiming they hadn't been paid in years for their work on that album and several others. What would you do in that situation? Drop a comment. If you were working with Kanye and you hadn't gotten paid for years for beats that you made for him and songs you produced, would you take legal action and potentially destroy that relationship and never work with him again? Or would you just let it slide? I don't know. Appreciate you checking out the podcast. The link to free music distribution is below. Download the app. It's way easier. And let me know what you think about the question I asked.
I tap out of all things Kanye. When I see Kanye, I just continue to scroll.
I think this was interesting because I feel like this maybe marks a change, or I hope it marks a change. I don't want to get prematurely hopeful about the producer community, but Kanye published Donda 2, which I didn't even know was a thing. Billboard writes, mere hours after the Lost 2022 project, Lost, whatever that means, mere hours after the Lost 2022 project hit streamers on Tuesday night, Ye, formerly Kanye West, revealed that he received threats of legal action from managers of producers who contributed to the album over financial compensation. So he took it down. And that part surprises me. It surprises me that someone threatened Kanye West with legal action and he actually listened and removed the song. Because it doesn't sound like he's been listening when he's gotten legal threats in the past. He didn't really listen about the Donna Summers sample clearance thing when they said no. He just ended up replaying the sample and dropping it anyway, and then they sued him, got the whole song taken down. He doesn't seem like he's in a space right now to listen to any sort of...
I think that's why he did it this time, because he thought he was invincible, and he actually got sued and really had to take it down.
Well, what are your initial thoughts about this? Because the internet is flooded with ideas.
I think the Donda 2 was when the thing that he put on the media player, right? When he dropped that, I think that was around that time. It was like still in the pandemic and people were just like, and I was like, this is interesting. I don't know why people would want a whole separate device, but shout out to him for selling his metadata on an old school device. I think it's interesting, especially because of the big names. I know we talked about it offline a bit, Payne, but the amount of names that are involved in this lawsuit, especially considering the status of producer that's a part of this, I think you may need to give a little bit more context. But basically, when you were breaking it down to me, I didn't realize that the main producer, one of the main producers cited in this is like, has been collaborating with Kanye for decades, but like has platinum, like some of the biggest songs in the world, but some of Kanye's biggest songs as well. And for him to disregard people like that, I think his statement, which read similar to the way that La Russell responded to the fan who was upset about him not showing up, his statement was kind of like, I was asked for $5 million by people that I taught how to produce. But if you look at the magnitude of the songs that came out, if you look at how long these people have been collaborating with him, like you said, Payne, this is like the FU lawsuit. Like I want exorbitantly more than it was actually worth because of all the pain and duress that I've had to deal with in this process. I don't know. It always shocks me when I see somebody collaborate with somebody like him for years on end, because I hear he's just like insatiable in the worst ways. But I don't know. It's a really unique, I don't understand why people mistreat people so much, especially people who, if you're just a transactional person and somebody's doing the transaction well enough for you to consistently collaborate with them, at least be decent at doing your side of the transaction. I'm a highly relational person, and I don't think transactionally, even though relationships are a transaction. So for me, I want to take care of my people and take care of them well, even if it's to my own detriment. It just blows my mind. I just have no concept of what would go through somebody's mind who has the means to pay these people and the opportunity, but then there's some sort of weird hill that you're dying on. So I don't know. I don't really have any other thoughts, because I think he's a very interesting character, in a way that I'm just like, I feel like he's setting his pants on fire, but refusing to take them off. And he just keeps doing that. His whole wardrobe is just doused in lighter fluid. And he just keeps lighting himself on fire.
So what I've seen, and I don't know if it's like a trait of, people with narcissistic personality disorder, or just mean spirited or evil spirited people. It's like when they feel like they've given you something, they feel like they can take it back whenever they want, right? And sometimes what they feel like they've given that person, the other person doesn't see it that way. Like, you didn't give me that. Like, so that's what, when you read that piece of it, I feel like Kanye feels like he could do whatever he wants because he feels like he taught them how to produce. That was the word, right? That's what he said. He said, I taught them how to produce. So I think it's a trait of narcissistic personality disorder, or it's just a trait of being a trash person. Just because you've done something for someone, one, they might not have received that the same way. I'm sure this producer learned from a lot of other people to develop the skill set that he currently has today. If Kanye poured into him, I'm sure that he's not the only person he learned from. So he's over exaggerating the help that he's given this producer. But I just think that stay away from people like that. Stay away from If people feel like that they now have the right. Hop is like this, because not only did he go after me publicly, but he went after his former girlfriend or baby's mother, because he felt like, she got a lot of followers because she was with him and he would post her and things like that. So when there was an issue between them, he felt like it was within his right to like bash her on social media as well, and like take back some of the positivity that she got from being with him in the online space. Now he felt like it was his right to be able to like eat into that or take that back and turn the fans against her. So stay away from people like that. If you see somebody do that to someone else, they can do it to you as well. It's just a nasty trait if somebody's doing that.
And I really picked up on that when he shared that text exchange. But to your point, see, and I'm not like the biggest Kanye stan, and we talked about the STEM player, and that was Donda too, from what I looked up. So I want to talk about, well, number one, we covered the story about producers from Kanye's last two Vultures albums claiming they haven't been paid. I think these are different producers too. Donda 2 was finished in 2022. That was before Vultures 1 dropped, to put things into perspective. But backing up, the Donda 2 STEM player generated millions of dollars. So according to Google, Kanye West claimed to have sold over 39,500 STEM players, generating over 8.6 million in revenue because they were 200 each. He later reported 60,878 units sold within the week. However, Billboard reported that the total sales of the STEM player, including the Donda version, reached a figure around 47,500 units. That's over $10 million. So the first Donda has 3.2 billion streams on Spotify alone. 3.2 billion streams on Spotify could generate between 9.6 and $16 million. Depends on a lot of factors. Streaming is weird. But that's just one platform. That's just Spotify. So 16 million potential dollars just on Spotify. The sum total of all Donda earnings just off streams alone could be in the tens of millions. We don't know, but that's the ballpark. So these producers, my third point is, as you were saying, Aaron, these producers, for sure, Bugs the Beast, they've worked on a lot of music. And this current lawsuit sounds cumulative. It's not just that they want $3 million for Donda 2, but there are 7 songs they produced from Donda 2, and they said they didn't get paid for any of those. In the leaked text that their manager, Free Maiden, because he represents 2 of the producers, in the leaked text he says, "We did not and do not consent to the usage of our work for Donda 2 or any Ye project." An alleged text from Free Maiden read in Ye's tweet, "He owed us money for almost 3 years now." So I guess that's referring back to Donda 2 when it first came out and generated already tens of millions of dollars potentially. He's refused to pay, yet keeps stealing our work. So it sounds like this is a 3-year battle that is continuing. Like, this has happened to me with rappers, where a rapper will steal a beat a year ago, drop it, we have a whole situation, and then a year later he drops another one that he didn't pay for. I'm like, why are we doing this again? And this is not someone at the Kanye level. This is someone at like the $500 a beat level, not 3 million. But to your point, Dame, Kanye used a really common music business tactic, and it's a deflection tactic. I don't know if it's a part of narcissism or being a sociopath. I don't know. But he tweeted, "Free Maiden tried to charge me $3 million for these beats from people I showed how to make beats." So he's saying, I showed Bugs and all these other guys how to make beats. I want to be careful because I don't speak for any of these producers whatsoever. But what does that have to do with business? I hate when people weaponize loyalty in order to justify their disloyalty. It's like catching someone, your partner, cheating and them saying, "Well, I clean the house all the time." It doesn't make sense. I've seen this tactic used on so many producers. I put you in this position, or I got you this opportunity. You don't know the strings I pulled, and it's always the end result to take from that person. And people will say, "Well, I've been loyal to you, so you have to be loyal to me." No, loyalty isn't about hurting somebody else through some sort of disloyal act. Ultimately, there's no excuse for billionaires not paying people that they contracted. That's pretty cut and dry to me. But the part that makes me hopeful is that they're actually suing. Look, producers are generally scared to death to assert their rights, especially against giants in the music business, whether it's rappers, managers, labels, whoever. Maybe Kanye's less formidable right now because he's getting attacked on a lot of fronts. And it's obviously a position he put himself in. And then mistreating some of his most loyal producers isn't going to get him any extra support or sympathy from the public right now. But maybe this will start to spread. I don't know. I hope it starts to spread because I'm sick of hearing these stories. Like even the Tank story to an extent, it's like producers being told they're not worth equity. They're not at the level of the label or of the artist or of the songwriter, whoever. And it's like, how long is this going to go until something snaps and the pendulum swings the other way? Hopefully this is part of that.